think I want to start kind of with food just because I think you're from a place that is kind of food famous.
Really? Wait, Buffalo?
Yes.
Is it really?
Buffalo wings.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Yes. Oh, how could I forget that? Oh
You're
my
from
god.
home of the buffalo wings.
Yes.
And I would say it's funny, buffalo wings is actually what brought us together. So I would say, which is interesting, I would say during the time, we're both in college, both in New York. And I think like if you are a performing or visual artist in New York and you don't have like a sick, crazy trust fund, it doesn't even matter if you have a sick, crazy trust fund. Like some people just want to do what they want to do for themselves. But in New York, as a working artist, a lot of times you are working in restaurants. And that's actually where we met, which was really interesting because, I've grown so much into being this kind of like health nut. So it's really ironic that I worked at probably one of the most unhealthy restaurants.
I know when you made that switch, I was like, "Oh, wow." Well, I loved it because I was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
wow, Lynnette, she's like into, clean eating, whatever, all that."
Yeah.
Which is
But I
like
was always that
amazing.
way though. So
You
for
always
those
look
just
that
checking
way.
in, the past like I don't know, like 15 years ago, Christina and I in New York City
15.
were waitresses at Hooters of all places. Oh my god. And I don't even like this is when what we can talk about like life and just college and things. That's when I was like in like super prime and TMI, I was on birth control. So it was like super big and it was just going and I totally belonged there. And now not so much, but that's okay. But yeah, I know for me, I wanted to work there because it had the most flexible schedule. Like if you worked in a really, really nice restaurant,
Mhm.
you would get fired because like we were always going to auditions or for you auditions. I was always doing photo shoots, because I was in photo school and I feel like because that was a franchise, it was the one place in New York where you could make the most money per hour, but you weren't, a prisoner to this like restaurant because they only had like, 3 people. If we called out, it's
Yeah.
like, "Oh, we called out," right?
Yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah.
super
Oh my god,
super
the most
crazy.
we would get the
Yeah.
most per hour. You mean not the minimum, we were getting $4 an hour?
God, but we were making so much in tips, so much
I
in
know.
tips.
You were
Um,
good at it too. I loved you.
I was
Wait,
pretty
can I
good at it. I wasn't the best though. We know we're not even gonna name names on some of the people. There were some scammers. There was some
Yes. Well,
Oh my
wait,
god.
Lynette, can I tell a story about you?
Oh my
I'm
gosh,
scared you're
I
gonna
don't
get
even know
mad
what
at
the
me.
story is. Let's go. Let me get my chair
So
for this one. Hold on. Hold on. I gotta scoot up.
I love Lynette. I
I'm
love
like,
Lynette
okay,
so much.
let me
So
bring this
Lynette,
down.
so the the problem with Hooters is that we would get a lot of tourists that would not know how to tip, and it would be the worst because like they would give like $2 on like a $100 tab, and Lynette did not give a, can I curse? F.
Yeah. But I,
Yeah,
I checked the
Lynette
box.
did.
It's not under
Yeah,
18.
Lynette did not give an F. She chased after these guys, and you were like, "Remember, I would do it too after you taught me how to do that."
What did
But you
I
were
say? Oh my God.
you
What
were
did I say? What
fearless.
did I do?
You were just like,
That's
"Hey,
wild.
hey, was the that bad?" And they're like, "No." And you're like, "Well, in America, you got a tip, and then you'd always get money from them because you had the guts to go up and say like, "Hey, what's going on? Like, this is not how we do it here in America." Um,
Oh my gosh. Wow, y'all. No, that's the best thing about knowing people for a long time. And I think that that's like, I think about just like, family, friendships, acquaintances. It doesn't even matter how deep, it consistently is when you have people from your past that like have these stories about you. You know what I mean? Like, oh, wow,
yes.
I don't even remember that, like, I did that, but
Oh,
that's
you had
probably something.
guts. I was scared. I was scared, but I did that. After you did that, I started doing that because we're here, we are in the sexy outfit, we got to deal with these guys, and then they don't know any better, they don't know how to do it, and then it's
Yeah.
like, oh, no, no, this is how we do it here, and then they would give you
Yeah.
more
Yeah.
money.
Totally. The ironic thing, though, I will say this is that, and I think you might remember this, but I was already into health and wellness pretty deep working there. So it was a very interesting kind of like division because I was doing fasting back then. And I remember like some of the days I was on like day 10 of the master cleanse and I'm walking around with a plate of 50 wings. Shout out to Fat Man Scoop. He's like a New York huge DJ from back in the day with Hot 97, I think, and he recently passed. But I remember specifically being on like one of these like long-term fasts, and he comes in and he wants 50 wings, and it's like Fat Man Scoop. He's such a legend. Like it's so much. You know that like that one call and response with the hip hop, and it's just like, all the chicken heads, be quiet. All the chicken heads, be quiet. That's him, and he's asking for 50 wings in that voice, and I'm like, oh my god, I haven't eaten in 10 days, but all right, let's do this. But yeah, it was always there. It was always there. But I feel like, man, those were good times. You know, those are really, really, really good times. And I think like, you know, for you, again, like I said, my journey has been a little like, okay, yeah, I have an art degree, and I had you as my muse for like a while, and we actually have a published book together. Do you remember that?
No.
Girl, hello everybody out in YouTube and Twitch and all the different lands. She is on, I mean, like she's on a whole bunch of covers and different things throughout her career, but very early on, I got a contract with, I think that was Simon and Schuster. And it's a book, it's a self-help book. And I think I have it in a storage space someplace in Chicago, but it's Don't Be That Girl. And it's a photo of, girl, I don't think I have it. It's funny. I'm going to try to like bring it up, but it's Don't Be That Girl. And I made you hold on to a martini glass with a purse and like all this stuff being like this kind of train wreck character. You don't remember that? I love that you don't remember that because you've gotten so much stuff done in your life, in your career. Oh no, I'm going to look it up. I'm going to look it up. Hold on a minute. Don't be, because you've done so much.
Lynnette, you were so talented. You are so talented. Even back then, we were young. Like we were young. You know?
Oh my God. No, we were so, oh my God. Here it is. Here it is. Wait, is this you? Maybe this is not you. Oh, maybe it's not you.
Me. It does look like me though.
I don't know who this is. I don't know who this is at all, but it was, yeah, it was a book.
Did she work
We
with
did a
Glitter?
lot of stuff. I think so. That's who I would get all my models from because everyone was like hot with nice bodies. So it's like,
I know you did shoot me though, and I loved it.
shot
Oh
you
my
a
God.
million times for so many projects. The one with the rollers in your head was so iconic.
Yes.
My mom still has that around. And yeah, no,
You
we
are
did
so good. You are sickly good. That was, I
yeah,
mean, we
but
were
you were
babies
too.
then.
And that's the reason why I thought it was you, because I really do remember like you were like the most emotive person. And the funny thing is, and that's why I say now, looking back, I remembered it was you because you stood out so much to all the other models and people because this is really who you are. And I think that you're a testament to, you know, being a fucking fool and being nuts and like how that pays off because you were who you were then. You know what I mean? Before audiences, before being able to pull these big names and just doing all this stuff. And I think that, again, it's a testament to like sticking to your guns, like moving forward, like what I guess maybe on a mental health perspective, how have you been able, because I mean, look, Hollywood and this shit is hard. Like, how have you been able to really kind of keep that up? Like, what keeps you sane? Jesus.
Oh my God, it's so funny. Well, I mean, it's so funny because lately, like, it's a day-to-day thing. Lately, I'm like, I'm burnt the F out. Like, I'm tired, I'm burnt out, and I'm burnt out a lot, and then I just keep going. I don't know. I think because
Yeah.
maybe I'm addicted, maybe I don't know. Maybe I have hope that things will change, but maybe maybe I'm addicted. I don't know. It is really hard because it's also there's so much you're juggling and navigating and so many personalities and like expectations and gambling in a way. Like
Oh, totally.
oh, Lynnette, I lie all the time. I'm such a liar. Here, I'll give you an example. I started, it's disgusting. So,
Acceptance is the first step.
yes, exactly. So I started this new improv show called The Armando, and I wanted to. I had such a long story, but so I was starting that, and I got the. It was actually, how do I say this? Oh my god, I'm not good at articulating. So the Armando is an improv show where a celebrity tells a story, and then improvisers do scenes based off of those stories.
Okay.
So
Love it.
I needed to find. It was my first show. And I needed to come out with a bang because I didn't know whether the improvisers were going to work with me by myself. I had a partner before, and my partner was evil. Like, he would tell me, he would belittle me and berate me every day. I'm just going to be real tea because you're my girl. So I'm like, just because, you're my friend, but to give you the real tea, this is the industry. This is kind of what, yeah, I'm like answering. He would belittle me and berate me on a daily basis for like 2 years straight, like for hours every single day, tell me how I'm nothing, I don't belong on the stages. And there was, because it's, it was just horrifying. But I kept doing it. I think one, I was in a crazy trauma bond. So then I
Trauma
had to
bonds
work
are
on,
real.
I had to like go home for a while and do tons of therapy. Um, so that, and a little brainwashed, and also I had put so much work into what we were doing. I was the one who built it. I was the one who did all the work, and
Mm-hmm.
things were getting stolen from me. And
Mm.
so, and then he would tell me like, nobody wants to work with you. Nobody would work with you. I already had a like Robert Smigel, Triumph the Insult Comic Dog. You know, I had worked with him on my own show, Comedy Pull Show, and now he's done my show 3 times. So like, people were working with me on my other show. So him to say that I couldn't do improv because nobody would want to work with me. Everyone thinks I'm a joke. Everybody thinks I'm ridiculous, and yeah, like they you're embarrassing, like all
This is a
that. It was
partner. What kind of partners? Was this
it
also a
was
romantic partner?
oh yeah. So it was just flat out evil. Like, it was evil. But like, that's what this business does to certain people. Like, I thought I was building my life with this man, and I would kill myself. Like, I would send 50 to 100 emails a day for 3 months straight and get no responses. Like,
From
and
him?
nobody would respond. No, like, when I was trying to get celebrities involved, like
And
I
do you
was
think that was because he was burning the bridges or, like, doing something behind your back or,
See, I'm
like
like talking so all over the place.
yeah,
Well, sorry about that. Like, when I first
we'll clip it up.
started the whole, yeah, when I first started the concept, um, of when we first started the first improv show we had together, um, I I knew I could get celebrities on the show. So I just felt it in my guts. But it takes thousands of emails to do that. So I thought I was building my life with this man, and I'm like, I'm going to build this, I'm going to make this huge. And it took me 3 months, 50 to 100 emails a day. It does something to your mental health. It's hard. You get a lot of
Wow.
rejection. You get nobody responding to you. Nobody would respond to me until they finally did. And because we had agreements, me and my partner. And, but once I started to bring that in, you know, I started to see real colors, and everybody would say to me like, "Oh, a tale as old as time," but I didn't believe that. That was the love of my life. You know what I mean?
Okay. Okay.
So then, like, money, not like, I was owed a lot of money. LLCs started behind my back, using the show to have sex with women half of his age. Yeah, like horrifying shit that I almost died. I almost killed myself because it was so bad. So yeah,
No,
let
it's
go.
super crazy. It's
Let
like
go because I had put so much work into it, and I'm telling you, thousands of emails that like I was hanging on by a thread for a while until I couldn't take it anymore. And then I had the opportunity to start my own show. So
okay.
to tell you the example of the story that I want to tell you, so now I'm starting on my own, and I had been belittled. I kind of wanted to give you the context for
Mhm.
2
Mhm.
years
Mhm. Mhm.
straight, like telling me nobody would want to work with me, telling me what a loser I was, how not funny I am. And I still deal with it to this day, like all that shit. Because you feel that I felt that way about myself, and it was like somebody poking at all of my inner wounds, you know?
Yeah, you already have those insecurities, and I think people think that just because, you've got the cojones to come out and be on stage or put yourself out there, like even with this, like this is not the scariest thing in the world, but it's just like everybody gets stage fright. I mean, you look at old clips of Michael Jackson, Beyonce, different people, they're just like, "Oh my God, okay, here we go. This is a thing, like let's do this." And I think that, you know, I think it's tricky, and I think if you could talk to after this about just I guess the pros and cons of working relationships, with significant others, and really is that a good idea, in the long
Yeah.
run, healthy or not, you know what I mean? Because you're in it. I've been in those type of situations, so it's like, is it really worth it to kind of get it together, or do you get it separately? You know?
I don't know. Shit, I don't know. Yeah, I do. I think it's wait, I want to tell you. So I want to tell you what happened. I want to tell you what happened with the when I
All
went
right, I'm
off
gonna
on my
watch these
own.
Brussels sprouts while we're doing this.
Yes. Well, so he so belittle me, belittle me, belittle me. And then I was like, I got the opportunity to do my own version of it with the person who created the form of improv. And so
Whoa.
and I was hiking and I'm like, I can't do it because everybody's going to think I'm a joke. And then I thought to myself, you know what? I'm going to try. Because what if it works out? Like, what if I make a fool of myself? People are only care about themselves. So no one's going to remember. They might remember for like a month, then they'll forget about it. But then, so where I lie all the time. So I spent the whole summer this year sending emails to people to get them to come do this new show.
Okay.
And literally everyone was saying no. Again, like I'm at the beginning of my career. Like it's like sometimes that happens where people will just nobody's available, nobody can do it, you can't find somebody. And then Selma Blair, um, she gave me a maybe, and I
Okay.
said, so then I knew I needed to get like the improv cast because the maybe was, oh, let me know what the improv cast is. And then, then I'll tell you if I can do it or not. And I'm like, frick. So I tell all these improvisers that I have Selma Blair as a monologist when I did not.
No,
I'm
but
so
it's you make it, right? Like I feel like it's the lie, but it's like it's such a thin lie that you kind of have to do that, right? It's like you can't get to that. It's almost like it's like connecting the dots. Like if you get this, then this and this will work, even if they
yes.
think it's this. So it's like Selma Blair's like a kind of sort of maybe is gonna let the dominoes fall for all the rest of the thing, right?
Oh, yes, but like, so because I told myself, oh shit, like if she drops out, I'll just kill myself and try to find someone better. But then I was able to get a really good improv cast, and I was shocked because I was like, oh my god, I thought nobody would want to work with me. I thought I was such a loser, right? I'm such a loser, and then I got this cool improv cast. I threw it to Selma, and Selma was like, maybe, maybe, maybe. Her people, maybe, 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 and then all of a sudden, yes. And then that first show got me the run at that theater. So then now I have my own show run. Second show,
Okay.
I got second show was an even better cast. Now I'm getting legendary improvisers on the show. So it's like,
Okay. Who's coming up?
don't listen, don't mess with an old Hooters girl.
Especially with the Brussels sprouts. We've evolved. Damn it.
Shit, we
Oh
had
my
to do in
God.
Manhattan Hooters.
It's really the hustle. Well, congratulations, because it sounds as
Yes.
if like you, when they say this isn't like your first rodeo, I think that's kind of how it goes. Like this is not your first rodeo, and now that you're doing this by yourself, it's now one of these things where, okay, I'm going for it and I kind of sort of know what to expect. So I think like when you were getting these kind of like rejections from these cold emails, I'm sure that it like brought up other kind of like, bad feelings. But then was it another thing because of the experience you had had before? It was kind of like, okay, I know that there's light on the other side. You know, do you feel like you knew that there was going to be light at the end of the tunnel because you had been through this process before, or were you like, oh my God, this is not going to work?
No.
Okay.
No, because I was being mentally abused so badly. Like, I had somebody telling me what a loser I was on a daily basis, and it's crazy. Like, it's crazy how, like, when I, like, think about it or I hear somebody else say it, you know, you think, like, how could you endure that kind of abuse? But, like, when you're being manipulated and brainwashed, it happens gradually. Like, the person love bombs you at first and shows you a totally different person for a long time until they feel like they have you, and then they slowly take their mask off. And then that's why, I mean, I could totally get caught up in a cult. I know it.
I don't think anymore. You'd be the cult leader, if anything. I'll be the cult caterer. Thank you very much.
Yeah. We would have a fun cult, though. We would have a fun cult.
That's the only cult we can do. But I think, you know, and I say all that to then ask, like, do you think that you were basically dating a narcissist? That's what it sounds like. Somebody that takes your trauma and takes the things that they know about you and then slowly but surely use those things against you to bring you down because they know that those are the, you know what I mean? So it's like, I guess you opened up to him, obviously trusting because you're in a relationship with this person, and then it's a creative relationship and he used all of that against you.
Oh yeah, well, you know, narcissistic personality disorder. I didn't even know what a narcissist was until I started to get abused really badly, because I never dated somebody like that. My ex before that, I came out here. I met him in New York City when we were there, and then I followed him out here, and I was with him for 10 years, and we had a beautiful relationship, you know, and we were friends even after we broke up. So I was not.
Wow.
Yeah, we were buds, like, because we just kind of, like, we were not right for each other, you know. But we had in that 10 years we were together, it was fun, and then we were friends until his girlfriend wouldn't let him be friends with me anymore.
That I've been down that road. If you remember my ex from around that time, like there were different patches. We're cool now, but there were different patches where, yeah, like whatever girlfriend was like, yeah, no, y'all too cool. I'm not really gonna go for that.
Not your
Yeah,
sexy ass. No.
like no. And I'm like, I promise, no, we're cool. I promise it's not this kind of thing. But it doesn't really matter. It's just like I think it's a level of, insecurity that everybody has in the beginning of a relationship, and sometimes toward the middle and maybe towards the end, where, it's really hard for them to date with this ghost of another person around. So I over the years, I've been able to kind of be respectful and navigate those spaces when, I'm friends with an ex, because I really do enjoy being friends with exes after that embargo period of just weirdness, and then eventually it comes to a point, if you guys are cool in the first place, and if nothing really diabolical like that happens, like what happened to you, obviously you shouldn't engage with this person ever again in life.
Oh, no,
right?
no,
But then
no.
other people, it just doesn't work out,
Yes. Oh God, no. I don't even know what he's doing. I blocked him on him, all of his friends. Like, I don't know what is going on with him. I don't know anything that he's doing. I don't know anything. Anything that he touched, that I touched, or I blocked them too. Like, I had to for that I learned that through, you guys, anybody going through a narcissistic abusive relationship, those Facebook groups saved my life. Like, they teach you about no contact. Dr. Ramani teaches you about no contact, no looking at social media. The more you don't know, the better off you are, So yeah, doing all that shit.
Tough. That's tough for people with, like, the kind of getting over it, because you feel like, there's a little part of you that wants to know what's going on. So then you can be like, yeah, I didn't want to deal with that anyway. But then there's that other part to where then it's still giving you more ammunition and feeding the fire of anger, you know what I mean? And hurt and grieving that you have for this person. And even though it's negative energy, it's still energy that you're using, just so you can be like, fuck him and his new girlfriend, or just whatever the case, just anything. It's like you have to put it off. And that's so hard to do, I think, for most people, even men, because they'll sneak around on your stories or look at your little IG or little posts and things, or find out what someone's doing from something else. And it's just like, okay, dating in 2020s, I think is probably, I don't know. I mean, I don't have anything else to compare it to. I don't have dating in the 1700s, but I would say dating in 2024. But I know it's just like four scores and 7 years ago. I went down to the local mill and I saw him churning butter. You're just like, what? Now it's just like, did you look at my story? Or did he do this? Or did he do that? And it's like, oh my goodness. So when I looked at one of your IG posts the other day, just kind of, it was really refreshing that you were kind of having this bit of anxiety about your new relationship, but it was in a way that I think that was like more healthy. And now that I've got a little bit of this backstory, comes from it comes from a place. Like it's a reason why you're kind of like, whoa, for real? Because of just what you've been through before. So if you could talk a little bit about kind of getting rid of the baggage from the person before and be able to show up as like as clean of a human as possible, you know, in your new relationship.
Oh my God. I don't think that I'm, well, I did do tons of therapy, like
Yeah.
tons. Like,
Okay. Therapy.
I was doing therapy twice a week at one point. Um, and then hypnotherapy, and then journaling. I had to go home for a while, and just kind of like get away from it because I'm still, truth be told, I should not be in a relationship. I absolutely should not be in a relationship right now. I'm not ready because it's too, the trauma's traumaing. Like
The trauma. Yeah.
it's tough. I mean, you know, but girl, okay, so what happened was real tea between me and you.
It's going to end up on the
Listen,
short.
no,
I'm
so
going to tag you
listen,
in the stories.
okay, well, okay, I'll tell you this because we're not, I'm like, I'm not trying to get too serious, but oh, my lord, that man. So, okay, it's so funny. You want me to give this, all I can do is be honest. You want me to give advice like, oh, yes, this is what I did to get, I'm fucked up.
But I was literally just on the phone with my grandmother talking about how just across the board, no one is coming. First of all, no one makes it out of just all of this alive. That's definitely not the point. You know what I mean? And I also think that no one's really going to make it out of this earth unscathed because I don't think that's the point. That's a part of the human experience. Like, how are these people triggering you and how are you triggering them? And we're all showing up with these with all these projections and all these things, you know, and oh my god, this annoys me, or oh my gosh, I don't like this, or oh my goodness, this is triggering, and all of that comes across the board. And I think that your kind of like mental health diet of therapy, hypnotherapy, which I really want to get into before we get
Get
off,
you into
because
it.
I find that really interesting and I want to see how effective that was for you, because I think that that's something we
Love
talk
it.
about therapy so much, but the nuances of it, you know what I mean? Like, how does that kind of all, you know, work into you having this level of self-awareness to the point where you don't even know if you should be in a relationship right now? Because some people say like you're never going to show up as this complete perfect whole person. So when is there's this line where it's just like, okay, I'm jacked up, but I'm not that emotionally unavailable to not be involved with somebody? Like, what is that, you know, what is that line? What is that point where you're saying like, okay, I can do this, or I can't do
Well,
this?
okay. So after I went through that, like that was some real like, oh God, I can't describe it in words how like the rumination like that I would do and like the way I lost my memory from that relationship. Like that's why I can't remember it. Like I had lost like my short-term memory, my hair started falling out and my skin got really bad. So after I finally broke from that, and did the no contact and like started to heal, I felt asexual. Like I couldn't, like, I had no interest in anything or anyone. I felt like somebody had ripped that out of me. Like,
Mhm.
it's like somebody like scooped it out of me, like savagely, like just took my soul and like put it in a blender. If that describes it, like I just felt like I was never going to love again. I was never
Mm.
going to, and I was like accepting it, like, okay, because I would still have anxiety about, ass hat. That's what I call him. asshat. And so I was like, well, I guess this is what it is. Well, this person, like, so I would not get horny. I'm just going to be really honest. Like, I would not get anything, like, just like a kind of like a, you know, like a mannequin. This person did something really nice for me. Like, and like, I've known him for a while, and he did something really, really nice for me. That's insane. And I, like, all of a sudden, I just like, it's like something went off in my head, and I was like, oh my God, I'm like madly in love with you. Like, I want to sex you up. Like, I love you.
He
And
turned
so
that.
because he did something so kind, and he, like, you know, he's in the business, and like, he don't give a flying f. Like, he does not care. Like, he is who he is, and he's like, he believes in what he believes, and he's successful because of it, because he does what he feels is right, you know. And he's an empath, and he's humble, and a little bit of an asshole, but
Gotta
a little
be,
bit of
gotta
a,
be, gotta be,
yeah,
gotta have a little bit of that.
yes. But I just made me so, his kindness towards me just made me go crazy. And then it like awakened this dragon that I'm gotta start dealing with in therapy. And
That's right.
to go in hypnotherapy, I have to go work on it, because like, I'm like getting obsessed with him. So like, I think it's just all the trauma from what that was, you know. But like, I'm trying to be communicative and honest, and I don't like talking about ex shit with him. No, I will not do that. Um so, but yeah, that's just, you know, and I'm trying to take it really slow.
It sounds like it almost sounds like, well, it's not even almost, it sounds like he put you in a place to make you feel safe and protected. And as a woman, like that
Mhm.
is one of the, that should be one of the first and top things that a man should do and should maintain, you know? And so I think
Mhm.
your quote asexuality in a way was kind of broken down by this person where you didn't feel like you wanted to share your body with this person because your mind and your emotions and everything were being kind of like so drugged through the mud. But as soon as you encounter somebody who makes you feel safe mentally, emotionally, of course you're going to give up the boob.
I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. I
You're
was
just
like,
like, come on
whoa.
and take, like, this is a gift. This is what I want to share because they're sharing safety with you in that way. So I think that's fantastic.
Mhm.
And I did hear that he's not on social media, so that's probably
No, won't see this. Won't see this. I don't
that's
know. I
probably
don't
the
know if
thing.
it's gonna last, and I don't know. But whatever I want, he will be like my first boyfriend. You know, because I he was so kind. That it's, you know what I mean. It's just, you know. Because Dr. Ramani says you should not be in a relationship until a year after
Really?
the
Tell
bad
me about Dr.
relationship.
Ramadi. Tell me about Dr.
I
Ramadi. I might
love
have to
Dr.
have him
Ramani.
on this show as like a follow-up because if he's done these wonders for you, I want to know. You know, there's so
Yes,
many great
her.
people, but so her. Oh, even better. So
Yes,
what's her
yes.
deal? Can you tell us a little bit about Dr. Ramadi?
Oh my God, she's so good with narcissistic abuse. She
Okay.
went through it, and like, it was
Okay.
literally watching her videos, like, was like paint by numbers. Like, I was like, how does this woman know exactly what I went through? Like, it
Mm,
was literally step by step. And so once I started, anytime I would have the rumination, where my mind like wouldn't stop. Oh God, the rumination where my mind wouldn't stop, like for
rumination.
months. It's like where
Mm,
you have the repetitive thought over and over and over and over, and you're trying to fix it, but nothing will fix it, and then you're just going and going and going and going and going. So then, as once I was in the healing mode, I would just Google exactly what I was feeling, like, how do I do rumination? How do I, like, whatever? And Dr. Ramani would be covering it. So she's great with the narcissistic abuse um, videos. But I now I watch her videos about dating after, like, how do I handle life after the abuse and how it's still bubbling up. Like every day I'm in recovery. But now it's getting sexy.
It's getting. Wait, so what would be, I guess, some of your biggest tips on maneuvering away from a narcissist? I think that's one of the biggest things for men or for women, because like narcissists, it's like a narcissist is a narcissist across the board. So I think, what could you kind of give advice to people who are either in a relationship or they are exploring a relationship with somebody? Like, what are some of like the red flags, and how to basically escape the burning building as fast as you can? Because I feel like people get their hooks in and within a month, like, this is probably not a good idea. But then you wake up 18 months later and you're now trying to claw your way out of this situation,
Well, it can be dangerous, man. I mean, you should see the women in these support groups talk about their horror stories, like, because some of them have been in 20-year relationships with narcissists. It's terrible. Mine, you got to be careful because there's the whole love bomb phase. So mine
Yeah.
love bomb, yeah, that one lasted a good year. But it was weird. It was
Wow.
off. Yeah, because I was like, I wasn't ready, and and oh god, it's really traumatizing how we started. But yeah,
We're gonna move on to the pole dancing soon.
yeah.
And figure out what I'm gonna do with these. we
No,
don't want any tears on this show. We're gonna figure out what to do with those Brussels
oh
sprouts
yeah,
and then do some pole dancing.
yeah. I'm glad I went through all this. But what I'll say is there were some red flags that that I should have seen in the beginning, like paying attention to your feelings. Like, for example, like I didn't want to be with him in the beginning. I did not want to date him.
Really?
And yes, the ass hat. And he would make me so physically ill if I would not try to be with him. Meaning like I was hooking up with him, but I did not want to be with him. I did not want to, yeah, not like that. And he would just be so relentless that I would be physically ill. And sometimes I could not like function for like the day after. But what it did, I think, because, we all have, like childhood stuff, what it ended up doing is it just made me feel guilty. And then I would be like, okay, I'll please you, and then that should have been a huge red flag. And then just slowly, like, especially when we started the shows and how much work I was doing, like I would be working, he'd go off and go with friends and do shit like that. Like, how do you not, we made an agreement for the show verbally because we were living together, and like not owning up to the minute that I started to get these big people and people thought it was his show, like he was savage. Like it was just like that. So it's tough to tell sometimes because some people can be a covert narcissist where they're hiding, but they will show you if the relationship moves really fast. Like once he got me, I immediately moved in. Like that's too fast, and then he had control of me. Like he had complete control over me. And so like, yeah, if the relationship moves too fast, that's a big red flag. Like just really listening to what they say, how they react to you upsetting them. Like if you when like if you like displease them in some way, they will discard you. So there's phases to the narcissistic relationship. It's first there's love bomb. Once they get you where they want you, then they start the devaluing phase. And that's where they will belittle you, berate you, because he wanted to maintain that control on me because I was bringing him big celebrities that he could then use to then get better supply, 20-year-olds, you know what I mean? While keeping me on the hook, as little as he could give me, he would give,
Breadcrumb,
because
right?
like,
Breadcrumbing.
yeah, exactly. So like, confuse me, say we were together, we weren't together. And then like, and you know what's crazy too, Lynnette? Like in the beginning, I would put my money back into the show, and oh God, and I because I'd want everybody to get paid more. And then for a long time, I was doing all of this really difficult work, and I was getting paid like a fraction of what he was making. And it took like about 2 years before I got paid equally because I started to stand up for myself. Yeah. So like just there are signs and red flags. It's just being self-aware. Like, how is this making me feel? Am I, you know, like is this moving too fast? Do I really feel like he's listening to me? Because they mask and they mirror. They show you exactly, listen to you. They show you exactly the partner that you want. Like, and he did it for a long time. He did it for a year. But their cracks were cracking though, at the same time. Yeah. So that's what I would say. But yeah, devaluing and then discarding. So once he found better supply, like younger supply or better looking supply or more successful supply, he would discard me. He would
And then it was this
literally throw me out.
cycle.
Oh yeah, throw me out like trash. Like literally I felt like trash. And before I even knew what the phases were, I was like, I feel like a piece of trash. And then if I was dating somebody, once I was like trying to date somebody, then he would want me back. He would show up at my apartment. He would call me a million times, you know, and it's because his supply wasn't as good anymore, So yes, it was terrible. It was bad. And then wrote me back in. And then I'm like, okay, well, I guess we're gonna be together now. And then the last time it was so brutal. I think he just wanted me to pay for his birthday, and I took him to Las Vegas. And once we got back, the Vegas was horrible. Like he's just a terrible person. And then we got back from Vegas. He literally one time I was like, we were supposed to go to the movies, and I was like, I just get the feeling like you don't want to go to the movies with me. And he goes, I don't. Bye, we're breaking up. Just like that. Because he was constantly looking for other supply at the same
Looking
time
for
of
the
using
next
me.
best thing, looking for the person and looking for you just like I guess looking for like the perfect mark, the better mark, and that could be older. Yeah, it's more so like the superlative because I'll say like I have a little bit of experience with dating a narcissist, but it literally lasted. Well, I'll say this: the most overt, very toxic narcissist was like I think that lasted maybe like a month, maybe a couple of weeks,
Oh,
if that,
God.
because as soon as I kind of knew what I was walking into, but it was something that I kind of wanted out of that situation temporarily that I was like, well, let me humor myself and kind of see what's going on. He's cool. And I think even maybe in your case, you can kind of like understand where it's like you might kind of turn a blind eye to certain things because maybe there's a professional relationship. And so there was a professional gain for me to kind of be around this person. And like he attempted one round of the devaluing and discarding, and then he didn't hear from me. And then like a couple weeks later, he's like, "Hey, so what's going on? You're going to be in town. What are we going to do?" I said, "Oh, we're not doing anything." Well, what? No, you don't have to be
Yes.
that way. And then he goes like, "Oh, you don't have to be the way. Oh, come on, chill. No, be nice, be nice." I was like, "I haven't heard from you in like 2 weeks." I'm like, "That's it. Are you serious?" And then like he was like, "Well, okay, I guess if you want to feel that way." And then like a couple weeks after that, he goes, "Yeah, I just want to see how everything's going in LA. I'm trying to get back to you." I'm like, "For what?" I was like, "For what?" Because again, he circled back again, and then like he called me from
Ring.
like another number that wasn't his, but it was from the area in which he was at the time, which was like, "Okay, you're in like wherever town this is, and this is a number from this, so this is probably you trying to see if I'm going to pick up the phone." And this went on, like I said, just for about a month, because that one cycle kind of that you're talking about, I didn't go through that next cycle because I remember when we were first kind of talking, like his way to try to kind of get with me was just like, "Oh my God, I want to hear everything. We need to share our traumas with each other. Yes, you can use them against me. Okay, good. Thanks. Good
Yes.
job." So I think because of my experience of other girlfriends dealing with narcissists, that helped me to kind of get through that like really, really, really fast. And that was like maybe 2 years ago, and I was already kind of going through a lot of stuff. And so I think that was a very low moment. Someone had passed like super close to me. So I was really, really craving that kind of male. I had a male void. And because this was such a big, bold personality, but a narc, he was able to fit in and kind of whatever. But it was like, okay, wait a minute. I'm low, but I'm not like crazy now. Now, come on. You're not going to, we can't let
You
this go on for too.
also, yeah, yeah. You also had a savviness to you though, Lynnette. Like even when we were younger, I was a little more naive if you don't remember. And you had like you knew what's like you're just a little more smart,
It's a trauma
you
response.
know?
No, it's a total trauma response because I mean, look, I've got male family members that are narcs and they do the things, and I grew up with different people. So I think like the savviness has been a level of protection, not a protection that I kind of built for myself to understand like, okay, as a small child, like, okay, why my great grandmother, for example, huge narc, God rest her, but like she would try to put me in situations with my parents just to see me crumble, just to see me be in a
Ooh.
bad situation, just to see me getting in trouble because she couldn't manipulate me. So she would try to manipulate the situation to watch this happen to me. And so I think
Mhm.
at an early age, at like 9, 10, 11, 12, someone, your blood relative that looks a lot like you is doing this to you. I think something inside of me was just like, okay, so if she's doing this, what the hell are these strangers going to do out in the middle of the day that aren't my relatives?
Mm.
Like, and it's not like a can't trust thing, but it was like, all right, that protection like went up. So I think by the time, by the time I got to be an adult and, working in the industry doing these things, there was, a savviness. But again, I feel like a lot of the wisdom, unfortunately, that we kind of encounter, and I think you could understand this now going through it, your wisdom is a trauma response. Like you're responding to the trauma that you had before and building on it and making yourself a stronger person with this experience, because we
Mhm,
don't,
mhm.
the computer of our hearts and souls, it gets built on our experiences,
Yes.
So it's
Yeah.
like, okay, you got this crappy stuff that happened, but now, you're telling your story here. I'm sharing my story. We'll share this story, and you can share this story with so many other women that are in the industry, or
Mhm.
your nieces, or your, future daughters, or anything, or the future sons, where you can be like, hey, don't do that.
Mhm,
Don't kind
mhm.
of come this way. But I wanted to touch on, before I get onto like food and fitness, because I know we went down this rabbit hole, but that's okay because there's a lot of good stuff, and I think it was a little bit what's that word? It starts with a C. It's a big word. Cathartic. It's a little bit
Yes.
cathartic. A little bit cathartic for us. But hypnotherapy. Go while I slice the rest of these Brussels sprouts. I
Oh
want to
my
know all
God.
about it.
I love it. I love it so much. You know why I did not like regular talk therapy,
Okay.
um, because I felt like it was just talking about problems and there was sometimes solutions, but not really. But
Yeah.
with hypnotherapy, you kind of go in with I like the positive talk. Like you do a therapy session, you talk about it and what you want to work on. So like I like it because it feels like I'm going into magic land. Like I'm going into manifestation mode. Like a lot of my hypnotherapy was getting through the narcissistic abuse and the rumination and my memory. That's what I was like focusing on. But you can use it to lose weight. You can use it to stop smoking. You can use it just to be more positive and confident. A lot of people use it for like actors use it to like help their confidence
Mm.
level with performing, mental clarity. I'm like right now I'm working on, rebuilding myself after all of the belittling, kind of not believing those things. I fight through that a lot. So yeah, but yeah, hypnotherapy is good because then you'll do the talk part and then they'll put at least what I do, they'll then talk you down and they'll talk to you while you do it. And a lot of them will let you record it.
Okay.
And then they'll have you fixate on something and then you kind of like, they hypnotize you to you close your eyes and, you're kind of like in and out of consciousness. It's very relaxing. It's very relaxing. Um, it's not like you're like, quack like a chicken, or whatever, quack like a duck. You're like, no, it's kind of like
Okay.
you're
Good to know.
conscious. You know, sometimes you're really conscious and sometimes you're not. And sometimes when I close my eyes and I'm in hypnotherapy, like a lot of darkness will pop up. I think because it's like bringing up, for me, it's like bringing up bad things that are blocking me. You know, it's like
Mhm,
getting rid of like what's
mhm,
like, oh wow, this is what's going on in my subconscious. This is what's going
mhm,
on in my brain.
mhm.
Fighting it. I'm also, you know, also trying to learn how to handle my shows, the pressure of my shows and how like psychotic I get. You know, that I need to be able to function as a human. I want to hang out with you, Lynnette. You know, I want to be your friend, and I'm always working. I'm always working on my shows. It's disgusting. But anyway,
You
so that's but mm,
you gotta do it. You got it together. You got it together. One last question about the hypnotherapy. I've had people suggest it for me. I haven't gotten into it yet because I just have this thought in my mind that, well, let me back it up a little bit. I did Vipassana meditation in 2018, and that's that 10-day meditation where you go and you sit in silence for 10 days. Have you
mm,
heard of that one?
I've
Yeah.
heard of people doing. I didn't know the name of it though.
Yeah, they call it a silent retreat, but the actual kind of like official one, it's called a Vipassana, and it's 10 days, no books, no talking, no talismans, no incense, no writing, no eye contact, no phones, no nothing. Literally, you are in the quote sphere of the autonomous mind. And I'll tell you that that was unlike any psychedelic or anything I've ever done. Once I got to like maybe day 5 or day, 4 or 5 or 6, and it was just like those first days were so much of getting like the voices out of my head. Like the first day was just music all day in my head. The second day I'm thinking about all the people in my life who died. The third day I'm thinking about all these dudes. The next ones I'm thinking about my career, and it's just like finally getting to that level of kind of openness to where you can receive and clean out, and I'm curious about that with hypnotherapy because I just feel like my mind is going so much like you can't, it's almost like the Tyson fighter this or like a boxing match or something. You can't take me down. You think you can sit me in this office and talk me down? And I feel like you're such a vivacious personality. How the hell did they talk you down in hypnotherapy? How the hell did they tame your beast? How long did it take? How many sessions did it take for you? Like for real. I find it, I've known you enough and you're like, how did they
Oh
how
my
with
god.
hypnotherapy? How? How
It
did
right
you
away. Well, because it's hypnotherapy because they talk you down and it's so relaxing. It's like almost like a massage of the mind because it's like they say there's no wrong with it. Like no matter what's going on in your head, there's no wrong, and you could even like kind of fall asleep a little bit. Like there's no
Okay.
wrong. So I think that's why it helps. It like helps me because it is like every single time it does that for me and it like boosts me. And then sometimes you don't even realize that it's helping you. Like I wouldn't even realize. I'm like, oh, I didn't feel anything, and then the next day I'm like, oh wow, I'm a lot more confident, you know, with whatever I'm doing. Or
Mm.
I didn't think about it as much. I'm not ruminating as much. Interesting, you know. I didn't have a panic attack, like because it was really when I first started hypnotherapy. I was pretty bad,
Okay.
and I would lie to my hypnotherapist too. There was that too,
Mm.
because
Yeah.
I didn't want to let go of ass hat, and so I
No,
didn't want
you're
to like.
fighting it. But wow, I mean that's fantastic. And like that, like I didn't expect, like I didn't know, you never know where you're going when you're speaking with people in this way. But like the hypnotherapy, I feel like that is such a big gem, for people to really, really investigate because it seems like it's been super, super helpful for you. And like you've been able to stick with it and you're becoming more aware. I mean, again, for you to be self aware to the point where you're like, you know what, I probably shouldn't be in this relationship right now. Let me kind of see how it goes. It might not work out. Like, that's all really healthy thoughts because we go into not only just romantic relationships, but just like professional projects and things. Oh my God, I'm going to get an Oscar for this. Or, oh my God, it's going to get 50 billion views. Or, oh my God, I'm going to get $100,000 check, just whatever the case may be. And it's like, it's such a journey,
Mhm.
it's such a journey. With that being said, what are your kind of like long-term plans now that you're doing it like on your own and building things up for yourself? Like, I mean, when is the Emmy coming? When is where are we going? What's the plan? Because I know you have much bigger plans than, wrangling and empire. That's one step, but like, what are you continuing to kind of think? Like, because you got your producer hat on and your showrunner hat, and like that is using both sides of your brain, which, you know, certain people can only be performers and go. They can't manage the performers. Like that is such a skill that I'm really like super in admiration and just like awe of that. Because for you to, okay, then get out and do your thing and then have to manage and wrangle the people, then you come out and like be a part of that. Like it's almost like a bipolarity, with that. So yeah, what are your plans and how are you, continuing to manage that? Like what's happening?
Oh man, it's hard. I,
Yeah.
I have to I have to you know what? It's 2024. Like we're the hustle. Like we hustled back then. You know what that life is like.
I
It
do.
was, I came out to LA and I was struggling as an actress. I got dropped, I think, like 6 times. And so I I just know that in order to make it in LA, in order to make it in New York, in order to make it in this business in a way that you can actually have like a real career, you have to be visible in a big way. So
Yeah.
I don't really have a choice, and that's I just at first I did it for love. Like I was madly in love with Asshat. I was so in love with him and I just wanted to make him a huge success and I wanted to make him happy. And when I discovered, and also myself, like I also wanted to be an actress and I wanted us to be like Lucy and Desi.
Yeah,
And
because you've been at this. That's the thing. Like I know that you've been at this way before this guy came along, way before LA came along. So,
mhm.
I know that even though I didn't have this back information, I know you were going to be fine regardless, even though I know that that was an anchor point with him, but like it still stemmed from you from the beginning, being a character actress, being with it. It's not like he made you,
Mm-mm.
which I think
Yeah.
is what's super important as well. Like,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
sound like you tried
But
to make him.
yes. And well, what I learned is like how much love can really brought success for me when I was leading from love as opposed to a career standpoint. So
Mhm,
then now that faded and I chose to keep going because I also feel like as a woman too, like
mhm.
I was not, I'm like, I'm gonna fucking make it. I'm gonna make it. Like I'm sick of this shit. I'm not gonna let this ass hat take me down. Like I'm going to make it in this business. I want this to be my career. So I meditation, hypnotherapy really helps where I'm like, okay, I have to switch this part of my brain. Like, and it's so crazy that you understand that it is 2 parts of your brain. Like, I will be like right now, after we get off this, like I need to work on the creative for Comedy Pulse Show and the Armando. Like I'm gonna do like a special thing with Adam McKay on the show, and I want it to be creative and funny and I set a timer and I'm like, I'm going to spend this time working on the creative part of it. And then after that, I'm going to hit my computer and I'm going to write all these agents and publicists. And like, it is hard. It is hard in my brain sometimes to switch, but we can't be lazy if we want to make it. Some people are blessed and they're related to people. I, I mean, I am, I mean, I don't know. If people who are like, how do I say? Now I'm
Like you
getting into the scene where I'm like becoming friendly with famous people.
right, right,
But
right,
like,
right, right.
if my boyfriend's famous, my boyfriend's famous,
Right.
but like,
Okay. But he's
yes,
not on social media. Did someone
no,
handle
he's
the
not.
social media for him?
So, and I'm like, damn, I kind of wish this works out because then my life would be so much easier if I just like date him. Like, my God, he could just make a quick phone call and people would be like, oh yeah, like, whatever. I'm such an
And
asshole.
that's okay though. And I mean, like, it's not like you're coming out of nowhere with that. It again, like you've worked hard for
It's so
yourself
hard. I'm sick of this
and for
shit.
other
My friends are
people. So
like, Christina, people are gonna think you're just succeeding because of this guy. I said, good. Yeah, good. I don't care what the hell they think after the 3 years of me. Look at these lines. Look at this gray hair. I can't take it. I can't take this shit.
Oh,
It's so hard.
I got stuff for you. Don't worry. I got some things for you. Like, don't worry about it. We can cover the grades, and I think with
Oh,
comedy,
please.
you have like, believe me, again, we've known each other for a long time, and I see, different folks on Facebook and different things. Like, I think both of us, because of the path that we have taken in the past 15, 20 years, and like the work that we're doing, we by default end up being drunk from the fountain of youth, because you know
Mhm.
what I mean? Like, you've got this youthful spirit, and that dials back. That like stops time almost. And I
I
think
think
about
so.
that in comparison to, some of the other people like we worked with and different lifestyle and changes and stuff. I'm just like, okay, all right. Yeah, I know my excuse is I sit here and eat green things for a living, but again, it's not always about what you eat. It's about staying open and staying really active. And I think again, with comedy performance, like you're basically making a living being like the 5-year-old being able to play in the sandbox. You know what I mean? And I think that
Mhm, mhm.
that's something that, again, I could be like, okay, Christina, what are you, like 21? I would card you. I
Oh,
card the
you're
hell out
so
of you.
sweet. I
No, I
feel like
totally
that
card
about
you.
you. Oh my
Yeah,
God, you're
both
the one.
of us, both of us, both of us. They should be carding the hell out of us. But I think again, that's about staying like open. Like, for example, with your pole dancing, I feel like that is a big part of your fitness like lifestyle. And for those that have even played around with a pole, I know from experience that like it's not easy, and you've got to have some strength, and you got to be able to kind of move up and do some things if you're just not going to stand and just kind of spin around in a circle. No, you got to flip yourself up, down to kind of like to do these things. So when did you get
Mhm.
into pole dancing, and like how did you come to this idea for the comedy pole show? Because that's like a whole like apparatus like to come on stage
Mm,
to kind of build this thing like around it. But yeah, how did that start? Tell me a little bit about that, because it definitely is like a fitness thing.
yes. Oh my God. Well, I started at I heard Crunch Gym had pole dance
Okay.
classes. So
Okay.
I joined that gym for that reason. And and then I just got there was community there. I always Hooters, like before that I was like always I started a gang in my hometown with all sexy
Started
chicks.
again.
Like I did. I was so dumb. Like
No,
I
it's good.
liked being I loved being around beautiful women. Um
Same,
just
same.
cuz yeah, like you thrive. Like I don't know, there's something that energy like I watched you forever and I'm like I get so inspired by you because you're stunning, you're smart, you've got so much going for you. And like it just I don't know, I've always been a girl's girl. So when I the pole dance classes, it was community. It was not only that, it is really difficult. And the class at Crunch is circus training, so it's not really the sexy stuff. It's more like,
Whoa, that's technical.
mhm, yes,
You're
she's
not, you
more
don't have
about the tricks.
they're like, oh.
Yes, because there's different ways to attack it. I like the too though, but then yeah, I started taking it more seriously. I became a protege at a pole dancing studio,
Oh my God.
and then yeah, did that for two years while I was like trying to make it as an actress, and then I got drunk at an improv show. I was watching Ass Hat at an improv show, and I was begging him to get back into improv. Um,
Okay.
and he finally did a show so I could go watch him because I always thought he was so funny. And I got drunk and I was sitting there watching Casey Faye's shows. This guy who I put on my improv shows. He's a genius in the improv world. He was doing shows at the Silver Lake Lounge. I went to Holy Shit, his show, and they were live streaming it. And Casey was just really savvy with it. This was during the pandemic
Hmm.
when like when nobody was doing anything, but Casey was one of the first people to do something, and it was at a bar, and I got drunk, and I was like, I'm gonna do a show that's comedy and pole dance. I'm gonna do it. Like I want to do a show that's comedy and pole dance. I want to be like Casey and do this. And then yeah, that's kind of how eh, I mean, I didn't invent the wheel. Like there's been multiple like sex and comedy has been a thing throughout time.
Mm.
Um
Hmm.
so I knew that that kind of thing would work, but I knew that I didn't want to attack it like the strip club per se. I wanted it to be more athletic based.
Okay.
But I did call Jumbo's. That was my first place I called because I thought it would be
Jumbo's
great.
Cutting Room.
Well, I thought Jumbo's Clown Room, I just use the dancers there and I'd have the comics come in and do stand up in between. That would have been definitely more raunchy than what I would what I truly like now my vision. Like what I truly wanted, it's just not. And the woman wrote me back maybe. So she wrote me maybe and never wrote me anything else. And then I got the Virgil as my first location and we blasted. Like we did so well show one that they gave me a spot, like a residency there. And then I, moved around, but that's kind of like how I started that. And then because at first, I was being belittled. So I did not think that there's a stigma with pole dance. So I didn't think I could get big names on it. But I did learn that like, stand-ups just like to do stand-up on any show. So,
Yeah, they just want to perform.
yes. So show one, my very first person I ever booked on Comedy Pole show was Atsuko Okatsuka, who's kind of a big deal now. And she was a big deal then. And I thought, oh my God, I got to book people on this show to keep her on it. So then that's how I didn't go like huge names, but I would get big people that I thought would do it. And then as I went to cooler locations, I felt more confident to ask like Triumph, the insult comic dog, because I thought he would be perfect for a comedy pole dance show,
Totally.
Yes, and him and I actually got pretty close.
Okay, that's
Which is
awesome.
yeah, I can introduce you to him if you ever want to meet him. But yeah, that's a like not it's like what we define ourselves, anyways. That's not answering your question, but what we define ourselves. Like at first I said, oh, nobody's going to want to do a comedy pole dance show, there's a stigma there. But then I got a really cool venue. Went to Largo and I was like, oh, I'm going to ask everybody. I'm going to ask Jack Black. And then my first show I had Sarah Silverman and Robert Smigel on the show. So then I'm like, oh shit, if I change my mindset, this isn't a weird thing. This is a cool thing to do. Everybody should be doing it. Now, I just had Rosie O'Donnell on my last show, and I'm not at Largo anymore. So
okay, wow. So Rosie O'Donnell at Comedy Pole Show. She's doing the comedy. The pole show is happening. People are happy, and I think what you said a second ago is so very, 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 very true. Comedy and sex, because there's this like, with comedy you can pretty much get away with anything that you want to say. And so a lot of things that are taboo at the top of the list usually is sex. So I think if you kind of you have this idea of like the pole show happening. I'll tell you something interesting, kind of jumping back to the dating thing. Like, one of the things that like I've done in the past, like it's interesting. So I have a really weird dating kind of background where it's just like I was in long relationships for most of my kind of, I guess, adult dating life. So I don't have a lot of like, oh my God, I've dated all these people, I've done all this stuff. But what I will say is that one of the biggest tips that I can give to someone, and let's see if you agree with this, but the first couple of dates, one of them should be at a comedy club. And I tried this out one time and I thought that it was the best thing because you see exactly what they're laughing at and what they're not laughing at. Right? Yeah. Yeah. I don't know what kind of like Valentine's Day 2-for-1 deal, like bring your date and we're going to send them up type of thing. But you see what they're laughing at. You see what they kind of laugh at. And that like exposes, things about their gender, things about their sexuality, things about their income, things about their upbringing, things about what they think about politics in the world. Like what you laugh at comes from a place of experience or a place of exposure. What I'm trying to say is, and it's very revealing. It's very revealing. So I don't know. What do you think?
That's genius. That's absolutely genius. I mean, God, that's so true.
Yeah,
So
like the
true what
first
they
3
laugh
dates.
at.
One of the first 3 dates must be, should be some sort of, it doesn't have to be some big type of thing. It doesn't matter. Just go and both of you all watch people laugh. Bonus points if you're sitting in the front, so then you can get roasted. And then it's just like, oh my gosh, like this is going to be
Uh-huh. Oh my God.
this is gonna be a big like, no, let's go to dinner, let's go on a hike. No, let's go laugh and let me see what you think is funny. So my
Mhm.
side hustle is gonna be selling comedy poll show and improv tickets for Christina Calph.
Oh my
You should
God, I
get
would
like a
love
little
it.
button on like Hinge or one of those other like dating
Oh,
sites, like, hey, come here and do this. Come here, do especially the poll show, because that would be interesting because it's so in your face and it's just like the woman has to everyone actually on both sides has to be like super secure because
mhm.
you're in this new environment with this new date. You know, the woman is like, oh wow, we're about to go see half naked women and get these like really kind of crazy jokes. Am I that secure in my womanhood, and is he that secure in his manhood that we can sit here in the beginning and admire women and admire comedy and kind of have that
Yeah,
moment? You know, that's a big like this poll show, that's another step of it. Like now that's my like
yeah.
kind of old school like producer art school brain working like, oh my gosh, it should be like the double date capital of Hollywood. Is like,
Well, there's also male pole dancers too on the
oh
show.
man, but I mean, I'm pretty much straight as an arrow, and I'm just like, I don't know if I want to.
No, yeah, and like, but this pole dancer I have coming up on my next one, oh my God, he's a world champion, and I'm like, oh, he's so good. But if you come to see, but yes, if you are just thinking about my show, you're thinking like that. But I tell the dancers they do not dance like they're at the strip club. They show the sport because you can have there's 8 and 9 year olds that do pole dance.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I tell them to attack it like that. So a
okay.
lot of actually no, 80% of the time they tell me to fuck off, and
Like, wait a
they
second,
like
I have to like put athleticism over sexuality in pole dancing. Sorry, I'm not signing up for your comedy show.
Yep. So yeah, they definitely do that. Let's see this show coming up. The one girl, she is she's really hot and sexy. But I kind of want her because there's not a lot of the dancers on this show are going to be like more athletic.
Okay.
Yeah, the more athletic and more creative. But there's one that I kind of want her to actually be more sexy because then that'll it'll just make it more rounded out to show styles. But yeah, you do have to be secure in yourself. I guess I'm so desensitized because we come from Hooters, like
I think so. Like that was such a descent. But then also like we're secure enough in our femininity to be able to, you know, I didn't go to a college that had a sorority. Like that wasn't a part of the culture. I'm like New York City art school. So it's like that was the closest thing to a sorority that I got. And what's really interesting is that have you heard of Athletic Greens?
yes.
The supplement?
Yeah, do you like it?
I do, and hopefully they will eventually sponsor this production because the president, like the woman that's running it in charge, like she is a friend of mine and she used to run another food business a couple of years ago, and then they brought her on to Athletic Greens and she's really running the show over there, and
Mm.
she is a former Hooters waitress, and we had a huge big conversation bonding on it. Shout out to Kat Cole. She is phenomenal and she is one of the biggest business leaders right now, and
Oh
yeah,
my
she's a former
God.
Hooter girl and she was a manager, she was doing corporate, you know, down in Florida kind of doing her thing. So you know, again,
Wow.
there's definitely a bigger picture with this, and I know that you know that brand and company everything is so different now, but yeah, it was a vibe and it was a thing, and I think a lot of really cool people came out of that, and I definitely know
Mhm.
that from her. Like I was like, oh man, no, I'll send you her information because it's just like you know, and she's very, I mean, she is the podcast queen. She is on all of the shows and all of the things, especially at this point. And she'll get on there and tell Huberman, like, yo, yeah, I was a Hooter girl. She's not like, you know, and she actually gave me a little bit. She was the first person, like, kind of publicly and openly, because we were on Clubhouse a lot and we were both big creators on there back a couple of years ago. And
Mhm.
yeah, she was so open and just real with it. And that's how I found I'm like messaging her behind, like, oh my God, I was too for a couple years. I can't. But she's like, really? And I'm like, really? She's like, you're healthy ass. I'm like, yeah. Like, what? I'm like, oh my goodness. So again, like, you know, this like super cool Hooter girl is running one of the biggest supplement companies. in the world right now that's doing really incredible things. And so, that is
Oh
a
my
testament to us
God.
as well. And just to every, woman, like, look, we all got the same things. It's just different shapes and sizes. And,
Mm-hmm.
we did our thing. And I think it definitely helped us to stay in shape.
It did. It did. To fit in those shorts. I mean, it was
Had to,
more, you know.
had
Oh my
to,
God.
had
Wait,
to.
so I want to
And
ask you. Oh,
yeah,
wait, go ahead.
no, go, go, go.
Well, it's a totally different topic, but I'm wondering, are you dating anybody?
Oh,
Sorry. Am I not allowed to ask?
well, well there, Christina. Um, I am, I'm entertaining. I would say that. I guess I'm entertaining. That is what I would put it, because dating requires time. It requires, action. So I think
Mm-hmm.
at this point right now, I'm just, yeah, I'm just entertaining. Like I said, I've been in
Mm-hmm.
like some long things for most of the time, and I kind of came out of that like maybe, I don't know, a year or two ago, like a couple years ago. And so I would say like these couple of years, it's almost like I feel like the 40-year-old version or something, to where like but it's a dating version in the sense where
Yes.
I really don't know. I've had to learn how to date in a way and just kind of be aware of things, because I've been lucky enough to find really great people and spend like a considerable time with them, and those things end very amicably. More or less, it's just a lifestyle change or a mindset change, or okay, I'm leaving the country and I'm not going to do this with you anymore, but I love you very much, right? Stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, it's interesting because I'm not a dating app person. I don't know how
Mm-hmm.
how do you feel about the apps? The apps.
No, I can't. Well, who got
Do
time for
you
that? No, 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 no,
Were
no. I
you
don't got
ever
no
on
time
dating
for
apps?
that.
Did you ever do dating apps?
I tried when, Ass Hat kept like dicking me around, and then I was like, all right, let me try these apps. And I went on one date, and I was like, the guy was so nice. Um, he was so nice, but I was not ready. Now I don't have the time. Like I'm trying to build these shows and I and also, I'd rather meet someone in person, which I know is so hard, but
It's
I don't know.
so important. I definitely agree, and that's why, like, it's like the only one that I'm on is Raya, but Raya doesn't really count
How the
because,
hell
like,
did you get on Raya?
I mean, you want to get on that fucking no?
I got waitlisted. I never got accepted on Raya.
When did you apply?
Like months ago. Months. Like
I
probably like
applied
over
during
a
the
year
pan.
ago.
I applied during the pandemic because I was like, well, I guess maybe I can meet some people online and just have some pen pals and chit chat. But I think it was because at the time my Instagram was linked and I had connections to a lot of like super famous people, and I think and I feel like you should too. Like if people are following on Instagram, that like you shouldn't have a problem at all. Like
I
you should not have a problem. I'm sure your
I'm
roster of
I'm
like
not attractive enough. I'm
high
not attractive enough.
I think right now it's not even about that for sure. So we're not even gonna go down that road, because no, I don't have unattractive people on my freaking shows. But no, I think it's probably being like overloaded with a lot of stuff. But what I found with that and kind of dating apps in general, like I said, that's the only one that I've been on, is that most people are just kind of like looking, and it's like an ego stroke in a way. And so many people I'll match with, and then they will not respond. And mind you, like I said, I have not been on a bunch of dating apps. I haven't been doing that type of thing. But in the short time that I've kind of experimented with it in the past like 2 years, is that I'd say over 50% of the people that I'll match with on Raya, they just will not message, or not. It's your match. So now you can have a conversation, but the conversation never starts. And for me, you know, I have this rule where I'm never going to be the first person to message. That's why I think
Yeah.
Bumble is a complete bumblefuck of an app, because it's almost upsets the balance of nature. And it's like, okay, no, I don't want to be chased down and beat over the head and drugged to the cave, but a man's essence is to hunt. So it's like we're on this app and we match. You don't have to buy me a drink. Your palms don't have to get sweaty. You don't have to tell your friend that you want to talk to me. There's absolutely nothing that you need to do but use your thumbs and say, hey. And if you can't be the first person to do that, I'm going to steamroll you. I'm going to steamroll you. I'm
It's
totally
true.
going to steamroll, and I don't want to, but like if you're putting that passive energy out, it's never going to work because you obviously just want to sit like, wait, you want me to? No, I want to provide to you that last shred of manhood that technology has. This is it for you.
Mm-hmm.
This is it. You don't even have to buy a drink. So if you can't do that, you're out of here. So some of y'all faves out here, some of these super faves out here, they have gone right to the bin just because they haven't said anything. Now, mind you, it might be the wrong time for them. Like, damn, I matched with this girl, but I'm actually seeing somebody right now. There's a lot of timing with stuff like that. But then I also feel like it's a lot of just like pussyfooting around, which is like an
Mm-hmm.
interesting thing to say. But no, it's pussyfooting around, and I don't. So yeah, I don't really do the apps, and I'm lucky that everyone that's been really, really, really fantastic in my life, even obviously if it hasn't worked out, I've met them in person. I've seen them in
Mm-hmm.
person. And then, you're able to kind of chit chat and go around. Like, I just don't, overall, I don't like engaging with people too much technology wise in the beginning. I want to talk on
Yeah.
the phone. I want to see the person. We have to build these shared experiences so that then we have something to laugh about. If I don't know you, I can't send you no memes. And memes are my love language.
Oh my God. That's so
I'm
fun.
just saying, like memes, like for that, like I know you enough, and me and dude been in it. I'm gonna send you all types of like memes because now I know you as a person, but I'm not gonna start sending you memes like right off the bat because I don't know, and I don't know the humor, I don't know the thing. So it's a weird
Yeah.
technology world. I feel like people are getting
Yeah.
to know people through social media in a way, and that's just a representative of things, and that's not necessarily the real person because it's a little bit of a mask, and it's like you think you know, but you really don't know. And then you find out all types of stuff.
Yeah.
So I think I'm along the lines of you, especially like right now where you do the work, especially with us, where it's just like we are so dedicated to the work. And I say the work as in capital THE, capital WORK, like the work, not work, but the work. And the work that we do will last us our entire lives. It's not like we're sitting here,
Mm-hmm.
crunching numbers and being like an accountant. Shout out to all accountants to keep everything together because I don't. But that's not necessarily a work that's going to last you your lifetime and also be the fountain of youth. So it's like we need to stay entrenched in the work. And then we look around and look up, what I've found, even though I've changed different careers, is that the person just comes along and they're right
Mm-hmm.
there around you. You're doing your kind of natural thing, but that requires you to kind of go out the house and do stuff and meet people. And I think that people are having
Mm-hmm.
a problem with that. Like, you shouldn't be on the apps. Like, go get a drink, go on a hike. Like, I hate to say it, I don't want y'all to join run clubs because I'm a runner, and now they've turned the run clubs into like dating apps, and people are like trying to date me from a run club, and I'm like, okay, no. But go anyway. Go anyway and
Yeah.
do these things. And I feel like that, yeah, so that's my kind of circuitous
Hmm. That's
answer
true.
on
That
like,
is true.
yeah, on like how like dating is working. And I think that yeah, I think that's kind of where it is. I definitely know like last year I went through a lot of like random stuff. The past 2 years have been very interesting, but like I said, a lot of it has to do with just the fact that yeah, I'm kind of new to dating, and I'm like a what's your girl Eliza, elder
Yeah.
millennial.
Yes, that's us. Oh my gosh,
I'm an
it's
elder
true.
millennial, and I'm like, whoa, this is crazy. Cause it's like, I've kind of been married before, so I kind of get that. So I'm just coming out like, whoa, what are you guys out here
Mm-hmm.
doing with these riots and these things and all these dating apps? And the men don't want to talk first. Well, you're not going to talk to me, soldier. Not going to happen. No, when you're ready to do kitchen improv, clearly I can do this.
I love it. I love it.
clearly,
Yeah, that's
clearly
so
I'm on it.
it's just too much swiping. It's like, I don't know. I just felt like it was a big time suck. Like all the no, 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 no. Forget it. It just was too, I mean, I don't mean not to be mean, but it's like, it's hard to match with people on there.
It is, and it's like it takes more than just looks because believe me, if you lined up all the people I've ever been involved or remotely interested in, you look at this lineup like it's first of all an equal opportunity employer. So it's all like all different backgrounds, all different heights. No, seriously, I've went from like 5'8" to like 6'5". And you're just like, wait, what? And the only thing sometimes that they have in common, I would say, is me. And maybe that they are, yeah, I would say the one thing they have in common is me. And then B, they are really phenomenal at something.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're really a beast at something. They're really spectacular about something. They've accomplished something compelling, or they're accomplishing something compelling because, you know, I work so hard and so passionate. Like if you're sitting there twiddling your thumbs, like, you know, you're either going to like get away because you're not matching my ambition, or you, as you should, outmatch my ambition. So, you know,
Mm-hmm.
it kind of depends. It kind of depends how it goes. So that's my circuitous answer. But what am I going to do with these Brussels sprouts? You probably won't get any unless I like Uber them over. But what should I do? How should I roast them? How should I season them?
Oh
What's
my
the plan?
God. Well, I'm boring, but I would do olive oil, just simple olive oil,
Okay.
garlic salt or salt,
Okay.
um, pepper,
Okay.
and I mean, I don't know what else. What else would you do?
All right. You know what? Tell me what you're thinking about. So I've got rosemary. I've got thyme. I've got oregano, I've got smoked paprika, I've got smoked salt, I've
Oh
got
my,
chili powder, I've got za'atar. I mean, obviously I have everything. I've got, yeah, I'm like the Bubba Gump of seasonings like right now.
oh
But
my
so
God, I want to see what you do because I'm so plain Jane. I'm very boring.
okay,
I'm very,
so this is a teachable moment. When it comes to veggies, literally the only thing you need to be thinking about is salt, pepper, a little bit of oil. Avocado oil is really good because the smoke point is much higher than olive oil, so it doesn't, get all weird. So that's one thing. But then think about either smoke or like spice. So, for example,
mm,
next time you go to Whole Foods, grab a bottle of smoked salt. Super easy.
mm,
And that just adds a different dimension to it. That adds like a smokiness to it. And it's like you didn't have to grill it or anything like that. You know what I mean? Or, if you want to do something a little bit, more interesting, then you could add like smoked paprika. So you can add that and
mm.
smoked paprika to kind of give it a little bit of color. But as long as you have your salt, you have your pepper, you have a little bit of oil to kind of move it around, you just add different things every time. And if you just do that every time, you're going to have something a little bit different. You know?
Okay. Oh
So it
my
could be
gosh, thank you for
smoky,
that.
za'atar, you want to do Mediterranean style, you can do the za'atar, or you can just do like straight rosemary. Another good thing I will show you is this bottle. Okay, of course I got like a big crazy bottle because I have to do this, but coconut aminos.
Oh
Coconut aminos is
yes.
so great. Everyone loves them. Do you use them? Have you heard of them? What's the deal? You get it? Yeah.
Yeah, well, I went plant-based. Like
Oh
I
my
I still
God.
eat I still eat fish occasionally, but when I
Yeah.
went through my mental stuff, oh God, really quick, I'll tell you. But when I went through my mental break, I went home for a while and I was like, geez, I feel like my skin was if I froze my eggs while I was home too.
Oh
So while I was in
wow.
Buffalo.
Okay.
And they put me on all these supplements and they told me I had to eat like super clean. And I don't really like eating meat anyways. So
Okay.
once I started doing that, I started feeling better mentally. And I was like, excuse me. So then I started going plant-based and eating using the Yucca app, the Yuka app. I don't know if you ever
Mhm.
heard of it. But
Mhm.
like and just making sure, like, I eat like Impossible, but like eating more plants and, plant-based and things that like affect my mental health. So then I got into coconut aminos because those are really good for you.
Coconut aminos is like, seriously, that's almost like the cure-all for anything. Like, you got a boring salad, literally just mix olive oil and coconut aminos and shake it up, or mix coconut aminos with balsamic vinegar, and then you got yourself another like dimension of it. Or, if you are eating fish, like, it makes such a great marinade. It's such a great marinade for everything. So it's like, I've added some to
Mm,
this, and I'm gonna let it sit for a while, and then I'm gonna roast the hell out of it, and then it's gonna have like this just savoriness to it. And because it's not soy sauce, like, it's not high in the sodium and the MSG, and it doesn't have any like extra colors and sugars and different things that some like really crappy sauces have, like you can do all of this like on your own. So I think
mm,
that's one thing. Another good thing to have, since you're more plant-based, shallots.
mhm,
Shallots are good because shallots are like onions, but they're like onions light. You
mm,
know what I mean? Like, you
mhm,
can put this over like veggies and you're not going to get crazy onion breath, but you're still going to get
mm,
that kind of like, these are called alliums. So this onions, green onions, they're very strong. So if you eat red onions or yellow onions, you're going to have onion breath for the rest of the night. But if you still want that kind of like allium, like that little oniony punch, if you just do shallots, it's not going to be that much in here, and you're still going to achieve it, by just shaving this over a salad, shaving it over, some pasta or anything else that needs like that little like, that little like bump. So I'll make
mm.
this, and then I'm gonna probably make some wild rice and then chop this up really good, and then maybe add some cranberries, add something. I'll just add some random stuff over and kind of see what goes with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that sounds amazing.
Yeah. You know what? I think I might send a meal prep to you tomorrow.
Yes, I would love
Yeah,
it.
I will totally send over, because I do this for clients on Tuesdays. I have a small batch of clients, because it's like, okay, if I'm going to cook for myself, then I'll cook for all of you guys if I'm in town. But yeah, I will send over definitely some Brussels sprouts and some yummy stuff. So we'll find out
You're
where you
so
are
sweet.
tomorrow. And we will get some stuff to you. But
Aw.
yeah, oh my God. Yeah, these are going to be smoky Brussels sprouts, because that's what I've added to it. So you're going to get a little taste of it with some coconut aminos. And oh my God, yeah. I don't know. What's your favorite thing? Anything? Any closing food thoughts, fitness thoughts, dating thoughts,
Oh
famous
God.
thoughts?
I don't know. I'm just so happy to be talking to you.
Yeah, this was
I'm
good. And this is exactly kind of what I was going for. I'm just going for conversations with people that have really interesting stories and interesting lives. And they're going interesting places too, because it's just like, it's nothing worse than like, you know, creating this content and doing these things, and then you fall off the face of the earth. Like, I believe in you so much that I know you're not going to fall off the face of the earth. So it's like, in 5 days, 5 weeks, 5 years, I can like,
We gotta get together though. Come
no,
on.
we do. And I'm definitely, what, December 3rd is one of the shows, or the 12th?
Yep. So I have a show on November 21st, the
Okay.
Armando with Eliza Schlesinger. She's doing monologues, and I've got
The Elder
Candy
Millennial.
Daly in the cast. Yes,
Okay.
the Elder Millennial. Then on December 2nd, I have Comedy Pole Show at the
Okay.
Bourbon Room in Hollywood.
Okay.
Um, and then on December 10th, I have another Armando with Margaret Cho and Bobby Moynihan. I'm so happy I finally have him. Rob Hugel.
Ooh, that's gonna be
Mm-hmm.
good. Now, Margaret Cho, I definitely like know who that is. Okay, so no
God.
more of Dynasty Typewriter on Wilshire.
No,
No? Okay,
no, yeah, no, not that
I said
place.
that because like I know where that is, and I remember that was one of the places. I was like, oh no, I'm gonna get to it. It's like, oh, it's like I kind of want you to have something every week, so then like I know that I'll be able to go.
Yes. Well, let me know. Let me know. I'll hook you up. The one my improv shows at the Elysian Theater in Frogtown, and then my comedy pool shows in Hollywood. So
Okay.
yes,
Okay.
yes,
No,
yes.
I'm definitely coming to one, and yeah, in the next couple days I'm gonna put all this stuff up, and yeah, like see what the clips Yeah, but thank you for, coming on and chatting with me. Like this is a bit of a new kind of embarking on me, but I feel like I've never put myself out there in this way, kind of like a full spectrum. That's why it's like I did not want to just focus on food, and because this is what I do all the time. And I feel like, talking about dating, talking about hypnotherapy, talking about all these other things, I feel like I'm well equipped, on having these conversations. And I want, to kind of get that out there and test that and see how
Yeah.
it goes. So I am so, so inspired by what you said earlier, where it's just like, look, I'm going to run out of cool, famous, awesome people to call on this sooner than later. So it's inspiring to know that, yeah, it's going to take a while to kind of get certain people on the show or to get people as guests. And like, don't ever get yourself knocked down completely. Because what did you say? Like, you were
No.
emailing people for what, 3 months?
I'll give you an example. This show, I got Andy Daly on it. He's like legendary improv guy. He's the first person I ever asked over 2.5 years ago. But it's like getting to them. And then at first, nobody's answering me. Then I try a different email, or I make a phone call, and then this person does answer me, but I get rejected. Then I ask again and I get rejected. So then 2.5 years later, finally the rep just gave Andy Daly my email, and Andy Daly wrote me directly and said, all right, listen, I'm not doing shows. And I was like, okay. And I go, well, then I won't ask. He's like, no, keep asking. And I was like, okay. So then I ask again. He's like, I'm not doing shows. And he's like, but ask me again. And I said, okay. So I asked him again. He goes, all right, I'll do it. 2.5 years later. So it's like, until someone says, hey, don't write me, I will keep writing them. Because then at some point, hopefully they'll say, if they say, hey, sometimes they'll say, hey, I'm not interested. I don't want to do your show. This is not right for me. I'm not into the pole dance and comedy. But if they give me the green light, you just got to keep asking and not take it personally. It's not about you. It's not, if you get rejected, it's not about you, but you keep persistent. Now, hopefully Andy likes the show and he just comes and does all of them. I would love it. Oh my God, what a dream. But it took me 2.5 years.
No, that's it. Like that, you have absolutely no idea how inspiring that is, not only for me, but for anybody who wants to engage with awesome people. You have to start somewhere. And yeah, again, if you don't, have this nepotism, or you have somebody that can kind of make a phone call, then like you really have to get out there and do it. So
make your own phone call.
You have to make your own phone calls. And yeah, that's good. If someone says flat out no, then it's like you leave them alone. But
yeah,
I think it's interesting what Andy said, where it's just like, I'm not doing any shows, but please keep calling, because so many other people get at people. And I think you're not the only one that's trying to get at him, but it's just like, okay, I can't get with you right this second, but I like what you're doing. And I want to continue to see how you grow and what you do with this. And it's almost like double dutch in a way, where I feel like, okay, all right, cool, I'm going to hop in now and jump around with you, because I've seen enough. And even the consistency in requesting, I think, is a big thing as well, where it's just like, okay, I'm going to be on your ass every month, every week, to see really how important it is. And if you don't hear from a person
sometimes
again,
I let up, though. Yeah, sometimes I let up. Sometimes I'll let up. Like I, pump the brakes, because if I feel like I annoyed someone, then I'm like, all right, well, because they'll say like, oh, ask me in the new year. Then I'll wait. Or if like, even if they just seem annoyed by the email exchange, I'm like, okay, next show or two, I'm not going to ask. But then, it's a lot about following your feelings. Like when you just look at the email and you're like, let me just write this person today. Or I'm in the shower and I'm like, oh yeah, that person. You just hit them at the right moment. You know?
No, you're doing it. You're doing it. You're doing it. And you're going to continue to do it. And I am so, so, so proud. And thank you so much for coming on to the show.
Yes, thank you for having me. I love you.
Gosh. Oh my gosh. All right, my dear. Mwah. Thank you so much.
You.
Love you too,
I love
baby.
you, Lynnette.